And I went, you've got to be kidding, right? Who in New Zealand is going to want, we love our netball, we love our rugby and all this sort of stuff, who's going to watch a bunch of, you know, D-list, as far as I was at that point, people dance live on television.
But it was the most unnatural thing in the world to do, just the weirdest thing. Because if you've never danced before, and just horrible.
One thing I was entirely underprepared for was the standing there listening to the judges critique your performance. And then when they say how bad you are, I was gobsmacked. Like, I'm looking and you're trying to smile because you know the camera's right in your face, and they're going, look, I don't know what you think you're doing, Simon, but you just can't move. You've got to loosen up. You've got 2 left feet. And I'm like, I wanted to scream at them, say, hey, I know that. You asked me to be on the show. I know I've made a dick of myself, but I don't want to be here. That's what I wanted to say.
You can see the ones that can't cope, though. You know, I love criticism. I love constructive criticism that you can take. And I mean, I've been directed all my life, so it was just another point of direction, really. Except you're in front of the whole nation, slightly exposing. And the fact also you couldn't breathe after you just danced, and then you actually couldn't breathe. So really, it was just really about getting you. I was always thinking about, don't look like you're about to die.
It was just full on. When it finished, when my Dancing with the Stars journey finished, it was just like, what was that? What just happened? What just happened? It was really, really consuming. It was 24/7, half of my brain always on that week's routine. Really tough.
People were doing 40 hours of dance training, and when I started to find that out, I was just like,
It's up here, isn't it? You know, all of a sudden the bell goes and there's 800 and something thousand people watching, and you're doing 45 seconds of dance. Can you do it? Can you sit there and do it? Can you do that in front of all of those people? Can you do it live? Can you do a waltz without tripping it? Well, what a thing to get your mind around.
And then once we had to learn 2 dances a week, the pressure was just so intense, because you're not just learning 2 dances a week, you're learning them to competition level.
That was so stressful. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just perspiring, just with the fear of performing. It was honestly like nothing I've ever done, the performance thing.
That pressure was intense, and the judging was as harsh as it comes across on television. They don't pull any punches. It's not planned. They're really nice to you behind the scenes, and then they're really mean to you on camera, and then they come and try to be nice to you after, and you're like, no, that was really horrible what you just did to me.
There was never a question I would win, so I didn't feel the pressure of the competition, really.
From week 3, I was dancing with a pulled muscle, a torn ligament and a fractured rib.
I've never been so tired. I've never been so run down, but I've never been so elevated and in love with what I'm doing. I could have just kept doing that every week.
The hardest thing was standing there just before you're about to go on and they announce your name, and there's just so much dread, because you know that 800,000 people plus are watching you and critiquing you. So it's hard to get that out of your mind when you know, everyone says, oh, but you know, it's just give it your best shot. It's all for charity. It's kind of like, it doesn't feel like it's a charity. It's like, it's survival, man. It's kind of like, it really is personal to you, because you feel so vulnerable out there, because you got to get it right. One shot, you can't just ask for another take like you can in acting. So it was hard.
I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed being thrown into this just completely foreign environment with these other people who felt exactly the same, and it was like we're just part of a, you know, like we're the survivors of this plane crash. It's like, right, how are we gonna survive this?
so when I say I do it over, you know, I'm a highly competitive creature, and if I could do it over, I would. It was just so much fun, and I love dancing, so it'd be nice to do it without the tag-alongs.
All in all, great experience. I was cheated because I shouldn't have got marked so low, because I had some more to bring. So if there was a disappointment, I would say I didn't get to fulfill my absolute potential as a dancer, although I think, again, the wholeness of the experience, I got as much as I obviously needed. So it was amazing.
I loved working with Stefano. I loved the band and all the frippery and nonsense.
I did all right. It was hard to ever beat an All Black, but he was, but we're great mates, and he was a great dancer.
Twinkle toes.
Twinkle toes, and I met my wife.
But it was the thing for me was just the unbridled fear and nerves of doing a 90-second routine, and fearful I was going to let Vanessa down, fearful I was going to humiliate myself, fearful I'd let my family down. It was that. In hindsight, again, I look back at these things and think, a good experience, but never again. I'd never do it again.
And winning that was one of the most wonderful things ever, ever, ever. Apart from marrying my husband, that has got to be the highlight of my whole life.